one and only intention was to pleasure a woman beyond her wildest imagination. Anything that went on outside of the bedroom was pretty much immaterial by design. It was a path that he and Brendon had taken since they were old enough to realize their passionate fascination with women. And it had worked, too. There had only been one flaw in that plan. Neither of them had bothered to update their woman code since they were young and dumb and... Up to this point, Braydon had never encountered a woman he wanted to hold on to. Not since the first girl they had both kissed back in the 6th grade. Apparently, thinking about the future had never occurred to him because, in Braydon's world, 1 + 1 equaled 3. For sure when it came to his sex life. Yet, here he was, holding Jessie against him, the warm, smooth skin of her back beneath his fingertips, swaying to a slow song in the middle of the elaborately decorated reception hall, and he still found it hard to breathe around her. The sweet scent of her golden brown hair, the way her body moved perfectly with his, and the sexy way she laughed. Every single one of his senses was well aware of her at all times. Braydon got lost in the slow country tune, focused on the way Jessie swayed against him. She smelled so damn sweet, like lavender and a hint of vanilla, a fragrance he'd grown quite fond of. "You okay?" Jessie whispered in that sexy, husky tone he loved, pulling back and staring into his eyes. Braydon swore he could see so much emotion in the beautiful blue depths of her gaze. The way Jessie looked at him, spoke to him. He had recognized a difference in the way she responded to him, as opposed to her reactions to Brendon recently, but he'd feared reading too much into it. As much as he wanted to believe Jessie felt something for him, he wasn't sure he'd be able to deal with the truth if he were wrong. Smiling, Braydon felt the insistent punch of his heart in his chest. He couldn't find the words to answer her, his throat closing as he looked down at the most stunning woman in the room. "The ceremony was beautiful," Jessie stated, obviously wanting to make small talk. As far as Braydon was concerned, he just wanted to hold her against him. Words were merely an interruption he didn't much care for at the moment. "Yeah," he croaked, forcing the word out through the lump in his throat. Jessie was referring to the ceremony that had resulted in his brother Ethan and Ethan's better half, Beau, tying the knot. At least, as tight as the state of Texas would allow them to, anyway. It had certainly been a day chock full of enthusiasm and well-deserved celebration. Braydon would have never thought Ethan, the loner of the family, would find love, much less open himself up enough to let it in. Considering Ethan had spent the majority of his life purposely avoiding permanent relationships because of a brutal incident he'd experienced as a teenager, something he had recently revealed to his family, Braydon was happy Ethan had finally come around. Of course, they all knew Beau Bennett wasn't one to sit on the sidelines, and from the rumors Braydon had heard, the man had steamrolled right over Ethan's arguments throughout their brief yet intense courtship, which had led to a union that Braydon figured would last until the end of time. Lucky them. Without hesitation, Braydon could admit to himself that he was somewhat jealous of the relationships his brothers had found. He wanted what they had, the love Travis shared with Kylie and Gage, the pure adoration between Caleb and Zoe, the intense heat that transpired between Zane and V, and yes, the deep affection that Ethan and Beau had found together. Braydon should have been fighting for what he wanted, but like now, he was settling just to have Jessie to himself for a little while, sharing a simple dance while happy couples shuffled around them. Settling because the alternative just seemed like a mountain he wasn't ready to scale.
Jessie was lost in the warmth of Braydon's arms. Overwhelmed by the feel of him against her, the hard planes of his chest against her breasts, the silky softness of his dark hair beneath her fingertips, the delicious, spicy scent of him. For the last few minutes, she'd nearly forgotten where she was and why she was there.